The Prodigy is a 2019 horror film directed by Nicholas McCarthy, stars Taylor Schilling, who is from Orange is the New Black, and a child actor who is named, Jackson Robert Scott. So the film centers around this story of this child who is very gifted from a young age. He starts displaying some very disturbing and bizarre behaviors as he starts getting older. The parents start to wonder if there is something wrong with with their child. So, they take him to a doctor. A doctor basically is like this expert in reincarnation, and he believes that the child is like being taken over by another soul who has entered his body. He's not possessed. He's just he just owns two souls, one soul of a man who was once like a serial killer, and also the soul of the child. Saying this out loud makes it sound ridiculous and stupid. In ways it kind of is, but I think the film did a decent job of like explaining this about the child, but the story itself is just a pretty generic horror film with typical jump scares, typical uses of like loud noises to kind of like, make you go, ooh. It sure as hell did make me kind of shit myself a good few times, but there wasn't really any potency there. It wasn't like a film that utilized its surroundings in a very interesting way. It was just a really typical horror film. The acting was fine, I guess. The child actor was a little annoying at times. But I think he did a decent job overall. Taylor Schilling was solid enough. Never been the biggest fan of her as an actor. I don't really watch Orange is the New Black. I used to. I used to like it when I was younger, but it got really boring and really dull for me, so I've just never really paid attention to her in her acting career. And other things I've seen her in, she's just been kind of so-so. She wasn't particularly bad in this film or anything. She was fine in her role. It was just a really stiff story. It just took some really obvious turns, and then in the final act of the film, they found a way to remove this soul from the child's body, but I don't know, the way that they had to do it just seemed really unrealistic. And I know it's a horror film, but the lengths that they had to go to remove this soul seemed really over the top for me. And with 90% of horror films these days, the characters just do these stupid things occasionally that just make you think, why did you bother doing this? Why would you think to do this? And without giving away too many spoilers, basically they're at a point of no return that man, we can't do any more. This child has harmed people and hurt things and even killed things as well. We're gonna have to take him away. So the father decides, okay, I'm gonna take him in the car on my own on this really long journey to this place. And it's you didn't think that would be a bad idea? He's unpredictable, he's messed up, he's you just wouldn't get in a car alone with this child. And I just don't understand why he did it. The film ends really quite poorly as well. The story of this film was really the thing that dragged it down quite significantly, because this could have ended in such a big way, but it feels like they just didn't know where to go with it and kind of just randomly threw together this sloppy ending that didn't really have much of a push, a punch to it. It was so predictable what was going to happen in that house as well. That last, not the last scene, but that last final big moment in the film. You just knew what was going to happen. It really just didn't offer any surprises or take any twists to maybe have this really cool ending. It was just really nah. So yeah, overall this was pretty not good. Some good moments in the film definitely, but the story itself really just didn't hit. And a film like It Follows uses the soundtrack and the score in a really, really interesting way. Even if, like, to say you weren't a big fan of the film it follows, I think it's a good film, but the soundtrack was definitely the runaway great thing about the film, whereas the score in this film just, it was really poor. I thought, like, it didn't sound like it had any uniqueness to it whatsoever. It was just really a generic horror film type soundtrack. So yeah, overall, I'm gonna go 4 out of 10. This wasn't like the worst thing, but it certainly wasn't good either. I think I'd be generous if I were to go any higher than a 4 out of 10. If you have seen the film, though, let me know your thoughts on it, and what you, if you disagree with me or agree with me, then let me know. Thank you for watching. Have a good day and goodbye.